Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to walk through today on this Sunday is going to really expose something that I really hope I'm landing this plane for. Would you believe that in New York and in New Jersey, we have unprecedented amounts of applications for concealed carry licenses, which obviously points to a feel of unease and a lack of safety provided in those environments. But that's not what we're going to talk about. I'm about to highlight a few things here that should be damning for the gun control side of this whole conversation. Everything will be linked into the description box below, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. All right, my brothers and sisters, we are going to dive in. The first thing we're going to hit is New Jersey, and I want to hit some items here that are crucially important to understand as we go forward. Now, remember something for note of this whole episode. One of the things that I've been railing on for the past 2 years is when leftist gun control regimes and blue bastions come forward and put all these restrictions, including things like more fines and more fees and more registration costs on the population for their rights, which are theirs, you are disproportionately affecting those on the lower end of the spectrum or who don't necessarily understand all the laws. There's lots of different things. It's not just for poor or socioeconomics. There's lots of reasons. But the bottom line is you're imposing more hoops to jump through and more barriers for people's rights, okay? It happens to disenfranchise those on the lower end of the socioeconomic spectrum a lot more simply because finances is an easy thing for everyone to realize. All right, check this out. Gun carry permits requested soared in New Jersey after the U.S. Supreme Court upended firearm laws. Now, this was released yesterday, and this coincides with the same time that the AG of New Jersey released all of this data, so that's why they're writing this stuff. Then we're going to hit New York for a supplemental point. Check this. Applications for permits to carry a handgun in New Jersey skyrocketed after a U.S. Supreme Court decision upending the state's strict firearm laws made it easier to secure those permits, according to a new database released by the Attorney General's office. In the 20 months after the court's landmark decision known as Bruin, about 33,000 people applied for a carry permit in New Jersey, according to the database launched Thursday. 33,000 people. Okay, check this out. This is a huge giveaway right here, what they say. Police departments received an average of around 1,500 applications a month from people seeking a permit, nearly 3,000% jump from the average of 50 applicants received monthly prior to the Supreme Court's June 2022 decision. Newark saw more permit applications than any other New Jersey town since Bruin was handed down, and the overwhelming majority of all applicants were white and male. Now, of course, they got to throw that in there because what's a good conversation about our rights if you can't throw race in there to really gin up some anger? But that's an important piece that I'm about to hit on, all right? Because these are the things that New Jersey put in place. What I'm about to show you are the things they put in place in response to the Bruin decision. So here's a little timeline to zoom out, and then we're going to bring New York in. 50 permits were happening per month underneath the regime before the Bruin decision. The Bruin decision comes out from the Supreme Court, and all of a sudden that number swells to 1,500 per month, from 50 to 1,500. So what does the New Jersey government do? They decide to impose all these different registrations, all these different fees, and all these different hoops to jump through in order to contain that number. Oh, by the way, all the people were white and male. You see in the spectrum? Okay, here it is. Check out this. This is what they actually made them do. Under the new New Jersey law, firearms were prohibited at schools, polling places, beaches, bars, parks, hospitals, and a host of other spaces lawmakers deemed sensitive. That's the sensitive places thing. Again, New York's coming. It also raised permit prices, added a mandate for permit carriers to provide proof of liability insurance, and increased the requirements for carry permits. Do you understand how all of this is tying together now? When you put these types of things in between a population and their rights, whether it be financial means, whether it be requirements that require financial means, all the left bastions around gun control, because they deem it a safety issue, they put rights behind fees and behind fines and behind the common sense you got to pay for it, liability insurance. All of these things are financial burdens to people who may need them more than anybody else because, after all, if you can't afford the liability insurance and you can't afford the permitting fees, well, then you probably just shouldn't have your rights. Understand, that's what the commonplace conversation is coming from the left around gun rights. These are rights that every single one of us has. If you are a citizen of this nation, you have this right. Unless other instances happen where you've obviously been convicted of a felony, lots of different things as the current law sits. But out the gate, everyday, non-felonious activity, you have these rights. These leftist elitists are putting fees, fines, and permitting in front of your rights. So the party that is saying they are all for the little guy and the big guy needs to pay their fair share and corporations are evil because they don't pay taxes are sitting there telling all the population you can only have your rights if you can afford all of these criteria. How is that lost on their constituencies? It disproportionately affects different demographics. It's not fair. It's not right. And when is it going to be talked about? Let's jump over to New York real quick because the exact same phenomenon is happening in New York. More New Yorkers are applying for gun permits. The NYPD won't say how many they granted. Oh, okay. Really? Okay, well, let's dive into this. The number of New Yorkers petitioning to arm themselves with guns, both at home and on the streets, more than doubled last year, according to new data on the NYPD license and permit applications obtained by Gothamist. They doubled. In New Jersey, 3,000% increase. And what do these organizations do? They decide to put your rights behind fees. Why is this acceptable? You wouldn't accept this with First Amendment. You wouldn't accept this with any of the other Bill of Rights. But on that second one, you know what? It's okay because you can't have your rights because you can't afford them. Voting? Poll tax? Anything? Okay, one last thing. Let me bring it full circle. The surging number of applications follows a U.S. Supreme Court ruling in 2022 that found the New York's gun licensing regime was too strict. Last year, the NYPD License Division received 13,369 to possess a handgun or rifle at home. That's 80% more applications for home licenses than the department got in 2022. Guys, this is insane. Look at the concealed carry numbers for New York. Jumped from 258 in 2019 to 6,751 last year. Oh, goodness gracious. The number of concealed carry applications in the first 2 months of this year has already surpassed the total for 2019, 2020, and 2021 combined. We are on the precipice of an unmitigated freedom splurge that's dropping across the northeastern states in the wake of the Bruen decision. And the only thing that the leftist gun controllers can do is put your rights behind fees, regimes, license requirements, insurance requirements, all these things that are going to price you out of your rights. And all the while, they say they're for the little guy. That's what I got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.